Oh well, hello, didn't see you there. My current hobbies include polishing the silver. And also still polishing the silver because it takes literally forever to polish silver for no reason. And eating unhealthy amounts of candy. Hello lovely people. So today I'm kind of going to skip the intro just because I feel like the title says it all. Also, I hope you guys stick around to the end of this video where I will actually give my best advice for hair growth. So first, I just wanted to say, however you want to wear your hair, that's fine. There's obviously no specific way that you have to wear your hair. Just wear it however you like. Okay, so let's get into my tips for how I grew my hair. Just to give you a little bit of background, my hair, I would say, was like right past my shoulders. I didn't intentionally start trying to figure out how to grow it. I just really didn't want to damage it because I was a lifeguard. And so it forced me to find a conditioner that really helped me and like something, a journey on the way to figuring out how to make sure that my hair was like healthy and growing and all of that. So the first thing that I feel like you should know about growing your hair is that hair grows very slowly. Even if you happen to be a person who has hair that grows abnormally quickly, it still grows pretty slowly in terms of most of the things on this planet. So hair generally grows 1/2 of an inch per month. And if you add that up, that means that would be a total of 6 inches per year. Now, obviously that's an average, so some people can get a little bit more than 1/2 of an inch, but it can go all the way down to 1 centimeter per month. I think that depends on many factors like genetics and diet and all of that. So if you don't see a change in a month, don't be discouraged. Most people's hair is not going to grow any visible length within the period of a month. So something else that I think that you guys should take into account in terms of hair growth is accept that hair has a genetic limit. So hair can only grow to a certain limit based on your genetics. Some people have hair which grows and never stops and will reach the floor. But for most people, that's not the case. So just be aware that if you've been healthy and you've been maintaining your hair and it's been quite a few years and it hasn't grown, consider the fact that that may be the limit for your hair. So my hair goes just past my chest and it has not gone any further. I'm not absolute that it couldn't get longer, but as far as I can tell, this sort of seems to be the genetic limit for how long my hair can get. Now, I would have to say that everyone's hair probably can reach their shoulders if you take the proper steps. Also consider the fact that if your hair is curly, it's going to be shorter, like that's just kind of how it looks. My hair obviously goes closer up to my shoulders when I have it curly. So the third thing that I want you to consider is that hair is like a plant, okay? That is like the best analogy that I could think of, but I feel like it really sums it up in terms of hair. It will grow unless you kill it. So unfortunately, with all of the products and processing and things that we do to our hair, we do kind of slowly kill the plant, and you wouldn't spray a bunch of chemicals onto your plant and expect it to keep growing, so you can't really expect your hair to do the same thing. Now, the only thing that's different about your hair is that once it leaves the kind of like root part, this part of your hair is not actually alive, unlike a plant. But basically, hair, don't kill it, and hopefully it will keep growing. Hey guys, so I just wanted to jump in for a minute to remind you guys to subscribe. I am hoping to grow the community and grow our little village here. So if you guys like these videos, then please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. There is one that is below this video. There's also this little watermark that I have here with a heart on it where you can subscribe, and then you can be notified of all my upcoming videos. So following up on my plant analogy in terms of growth, I would say just give your hair a chance to grow. So the first thing that you can do to do this is to make sure that you aren't tearing it out. A lot of people get kind of rushed and they just tear through their hair. So make sure that you are detangling your hair and not tearing your hair, because that is something that will really damage your hair over time. It will cause split ends and it will do just an abundance of things. You could start to lose volume. And then also, if you think about it, the hair has to grow all the way from the root of your head all the way to however long it gets. So if I tear my hair out when it gets to here, then it's never going to get past here because I've torn it out and it didn't have a chance to grow. So make sure that you guys have a good detangler brush, and I'm actually going to show you guys how I comb through my hair. Hey guys, so I just wanted to include this clip so you guys could see how much hair comes out when I comb it and kind of like what my method is. I have not combed my hair today. I just like started out by filming this clip. So I usually keep my hair in a bun on top of my head like you could see, and basically when I have to comb my hair out, it's just a matter of kind of starting at the ends and working my way up. Also, I have my hair, so when I take it down, it pretty much falls into the shape it's supposed to be in. I have this detangler brush. Right now it has no hair in it, so it's very important for you to get a very good detangler. This detangler actually should probably be replaced, I think, about now, because it is starting to get to the point where when I comb my hair, I feel it catch a little. So if you have a detangler and you're feeling it catch as you comb your hair, then you are going to want to find one that's a little smoother. I definitely do not like the ones that have the little squishy rubber in the middle. And I used to use them when I was a kid, and then like the little rubber part pops out. It just doesn't work. So I got this from Sally's. And also there are these little round tips on the end of each bristle, and once those start to fall off, then you're also going to want to get a new brush, because those actually help keep from damaging your scalp, and they kind of help reduce the resistance as you're combing through your hair. So basically what I do is start at the end, which is what you want to do, and then I comb it through to the end. Don't try and like move the brush up until you have cleared the end of your hair. So I heard one pop, which means I know that that strand broke. Now this isn't something you want to obsess over too much. You're going to lose 100 strands a day. That's just natural. You might lose a few more, like 150 or 200. But when I'm combing my hair, for the most part, I don't feel a lot of breakage. This was one day with no combing, but I did comb it yesterday. If I wait a few days, then obviously I will feel more like breakage, and not only that, but more strands will come out, because if it's been 3 days since I combed my hair, then there will be 300 or more strands. Okay. So I kind of split it into two sections before I start combing, and I comb one half, then I comb the other, and then I go to the back and comb it all together in the back. And then I just go to the end of all of it and comb that, and all of the strands start to come out. Now there is actually quite a bit of hair on the ground as well, because like I said, I shed a lot. So you just have to make sure to go back and clean that up. So as you can see, this is the amount of hair that came out. It's actually not that much, and then the amount of hair that's on the ground is definitely not as much as this. Okay, so another part of giving it a chance to grow is to not fry and dye. Those are things which are going to damage your hair, especially if you do it too much. So frying is in terms of using heat. Just make sure that you're not causing heat damage. Use heat protection spray. Don't straighten your hair so often if you don't need to. So if you're in a place that's a little bit more humid, then make sure that you are maybe protecting and covering your hair. The thing about humidity is it can be good for the hair, especially if you're wearing it curly, because it can help keep it moisturized. But if you're wearing it straight and you want to keep it straight, then the fact that it's curling up will cause you to straighten it more often, which is something that's not so great. Now, I live in an area that's actually very dry and not very humid at all, which allows me not to have to deal with humidity most of the time. However, because there is very low humidity in the air, I have to be very careful to moisturize my hair so that it doesn't have a lot of breakage. On the other end is dyeing. If you were dyeing your hair constantly and changing the color, especially bleach. Bleach is unfortunately not the friend of hair growth, so just take that into consideration whether you really want your hair dyed. Also consider the pattern in which you are dyeing your hair. So actually when I damaged my hair, I had a dip dye, which means that sort of the last 2 inches of my hair are being kind of dip dyed and colored with a specific color. Mine was kind of this like pinkish red color. and that caused me to lose length, because if you dye the last 3 inches of your hair, then that means that you could lose the last 3 inches of your hair as it starts to break off, especially if it's over processed. I also did the dip dye myself, so it didn't break off very quickly. It wasn't like I completely over processed it, but because it was an at-home dye, it was not the best. And then I was also somewhere where I couldn't actually maintain my hair that well, so I wasn't really taking care of it, and that caused even more damage. I would actually recommend, in terms of dye, is to do a thing called panels. If you think of streaks, they're just little dyed sections of hair. What I did were panels for my hair, and I actually did that in August of 2017, and I just had the lady who did it, because I did get a professional to do it so that I didn't have to worry as much about damage, but I got her to dye just a vertical section of my hair and then skip some parts and then dye another vertical section. So I had about 3 panels on either side. Then this meant that even if those sections became damaged and started to shed, I would still have length in terms of how long the rest of my hair was. Now, if you have issues with volume of your hair, then you might not want to try this as much, but I think it's perfect for people who don't have to worry about volume, because you can dye your hair without losing length. So some things that I would say are things that will make sure that you're taking care of your hair are just washing it regularly, or maybe on some sort of schedule. When you comb it, make sure that you're not ripping it out, all those kinds of things. And then the big thing that you need to do is maintain that. So like I said, get a good detangler brush, and then you can also do things like treatments. Oil treatments are something that you might want to try. Rice water is something that you might want to try, but the key word that I think a lot of people leave out when they say, oh, rice water, it's like an ancient remedy and it'll grow your hair, is the fact that it is fermented rice water, not just water that has been run over rice. So you are supposed to leave it to ferment for a while. And what I can say about fermentation is that if it doesn't smell really bad, it's not fermented, okay? So once you let the rice water sit a while and start to stink, then that means that it is ready to use. The point of rice water is to make your hair more elastic, and if it's more elastic, then technically you should be able to comb through it with less breakage, because brittle hair is more likely to break off than elastic hair. But like when I use the analogy of plants, if you fertilize a plant, it will help improve the health of the plant, but it definitely won't make it sprout up overnight. So these things are things that will help augment hair growth, but they won't actually help grow it if you are damaging it. So while oil treatments and rice water are important, something like moisturizing your hair is also very important, and moisture and oil treatments are definitely not the same. So if you guys are interested in more information on that, check out my previous video, which I did my hair wash routine in, and I explained the difference between moisturizing your hair and oil treating your hair in that video. So if you guys are interested, check it out. But also something that I would say is that you definitely need to make sure that your hair is moisturized. Also, a good way to maintain your hairstyle and keep from damaging your hair is to have a silk pillowcase. So regular pillowcases are just made out of cotton or some sort of fiber, and that can really agitate the hair as your head rubs against it throughout the night. So something that can very much help with that, and I have found them to be really, really helpful and really comfortable, are silk pillowcases. Something that you do want to make sure though is that you are washing it consistently, because if you're not washing it very, very often, the oils from your hair will be transferred into the pillowcase, and that might start to cause some skin problems. So just make sure that you wash your pillowcase probably once a week or once every other week, something like that. So silk pillowcases will really help you maintain your style, and it can also help keep your hair from getting tangled as you sleep on it. So another thing that I wanted to mention is to have a hairstyle that you wear when you sleep, so that you can maintain the style that you have, because if you maintain the style you have, then you won't need to do as much in the morning. I'm also going to show you how I style my hair at night so that I can maintain the hairstyle that I usually wear during the day. Now, what you're going to want to do to keep your hair from getting tangled at night is tie it up in some fashion that keeps it from like getting messed up by the pillows. So I use a hair tie that is like this. It's kind of one of these plastic kinds, and it's less likely to tear at your hair than one of these. I do wear these for high ponytails, but for the most part, they do have a lot of kind of abrasive fabric, and it can kind of cut at your hair over time. There are definitely types of hair clips that cut your hair off. Most of them have kind of been taken off of the market, but there were definitely a ton of clips for people's hair that were really popular in the 80s, 90s, and they literally would cut people's hair off over time. So just be very aware of what your hair clips and things are doing, because what I do is put mine into a bun. So I just kind of comb all of the hair upward into a very high pony, and then I try and flatten it out a little bit, but I don't comb my hands straight down the middle of my head because that would get rid of my part. So I just kind of go in at angles, and then I rotate the hair in a twist all the way out, and you won't be able to get the very end until you wrap it around. So I go out about this far, and then I rotate the hair back on itself, and then when I get to the end, I can twist the little end before I tuck it under, and then I just put, where's the thing? Then I just put it in a bun with this hair tie. I have them in a bunch of different colors, so you've probably seen some other color at some point. And done. Also, another thing that you can do, this I find to be pretty good at keeping my hair from getting tangled, to braid it first, then twist the braid like I just showed you with my regular hair, and then put the braid into a bun, and that might help you from it becoming too tangled as well. Basically what you want to do is have your hair so you can sleep on it, number one. So that's why I put it on the top of my head. And also with the braid, I used to sleep with my hair in a braid, like a side braid. And that kind of like rubs against your clothes and your pillow, and over the night, it just starts to like come apart. The only thing with the bun is if you are using a hair tie that's maybe not tight enough, then the bun will come undone if you're sleeping and moving around a lot. But you also don't want the hair tie to be too tight, or it will start to pull on the hair and there will be some resistance. Now that it's summer, I also wanted to reiterate that chlorine is bad for your hair. So if you guys are planning on going swimming or something, just make sure that you get a really good shampoo and a really good conditioner and wash it every time after you swim. If you are lazy about washing your hair after you swim and you don't get all of the chlorine out of it, then it will definitely damage your hair. It will break it off. It can change the color. It can change the texture. It can do a lot of things to damage your hair. I was actually very, very lucky, and I wasn't planning to try and grow my hair. But while I was a lifeguard, I really, really didn't want my hair to be damaged, because obviously I had to get in the pool every day, if not multiple times a day. And so I went on the search for a really good conditioner and a really good shampoo. And once I found the one that worked for me, I think that was really the whole reason that my hair started to grow, because I was being so careful about taking care of it. Also, I would say the biggest myth that I've heard around hair growth, and so I'm just going to bust it now, is to cut your hair, okay? I'm really tired of hearing this one, and I don't understand why I hear it, because logically it makes no sense. Now, I've heard this from professionals, and I've heard it from people who maybe are amateurs, but I've heard it all over the place. If you cut your hair, it will grow more, okay? Hair grows really slowly, so if you do the math, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, you do need to trim your hair, and you do need to remove split ends, but split ends are probably about 1 centimeter of your hair, and really no more. They always show it like people have split ends that go up 2 inches, but that's just not the case unless you are the person who goes to the split on your hair and then pulls it apart, which I really hope you're not, because that's like the worst idea ever. Basically, in terms of split ends, all you have to do is cut off about 1 centimeter, maybe 1.5 centimeters. Just take the consideration that 1 centimeter is about 1/2 inch, and that's all you have to do. I have seen so many people say, yeah, we're just gonna trim it a little bit, and then 2 inches are gone. 2 inches are 4 months of growth. You just lost 4 months of growth. And I know that people will say, oh, it was damaged or whatever, but your hair can never get longer if you cut it off every 6 months, because your hair isn't going to grow that much, okay? So that's just something that I noticed and that I hear a lot all the time. And I feel like it's really the biggest hurdle in terms of why people aren't growing their hair, because they don't realize how slowly their hair actually grows, and then they let someone chop it off, and that's just it. It's not going to grow if you chop it off every 6 months. And also on that note, I would have to say that my hair grows pretty slowly, so I definitely cannot afford to cut it off. And also, I got my hair dyed, I would say in August of 2017. So that is about 3 years, and I would say that now most of the dye has reached this point, which means my hair has only grown this much in 3 years, okay? So that is kind of slow growth in terms of if you compare it to some other people. Now, what I did to fix my hair from the damage that I had from the dip dye, I would say that I probably got about 6 to 8 inches over the course of like a year and a half to 2 years. Also take into consideration that if your hair is very severely damaged, it will take a little bit longer, just because the scalp might have to recover and not just the like hair, because even though you damage your hair, as long as you're not damaging your scalp, you should be able to be okay in terms of growing your hair back. But the main thing that I want you guys to remember is that your hair is like a plant, okay? So if you forget about it for 6 months and you don't water it, then the flowers will probably die. So just consider your hair as being the same, and hopefully you guys can see the changes that you want to see. If you guys like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.